What's going on? There we go.
You guys, I was talking to the other room thinking I was in here. I was like, why isn't anyone responding?
You shouldn't have admitted that.
Sorry.
That was great.
You can't hear me cackling in laughter turn. Amazing.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. We're gonna get started now. Sharon, I don't know if you wanted to chat about the Easter weekend.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for all of your hard work. We had 600 calls from over the Easter weekend, and our vet saw over 200 consults, which is amazing. So thank you all so very much. I think things ran pretty smoothly from what I heard. So great job, everybody.
We do have 3 new RVTs. We have Jessica H, Sam, and Mandy. All 3 of them are here as well, in various degrees of training. But you'll be seeing them on shift soon. We're just getting through everything. But if you guys want to help welcome them, as I've told all 3 of the team is super supportive. And yeah, if you guys want to say hello on mic, feel free. If I'm putting you on the spot, you don't have to do that. But yeah, we've got 3 of you.
Welcome, you guys.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy to have you.
So, spring is coming soon. I'm not sure how snowy it is back in Ontario, but I know it's coming. So,
Sarah, we don't want to hear from
I
you.
know. I just said I don't know what it's like in Ontario. I didn't say anything about my weather. So, we'll just leave it at that.
I'm jealous.
We still do have some shifts open for April, not a ton, but some. And May schedule is coming, so please continue to send your time off and unavailability through Sling. Reminder to everybody: if you have a recurring shift, that's time off requests. If you don't have a recurring shift, please put on availability. The unavailability is super helpful to Lindsay and I because we can look ahead at a holiday weekend or even just a weekend in general and see how many people are unavailable. Like maybe you have a horse show, maybe you're on call, maybe you just need a weekend off. It just helps us plan a little bit better. So I will say again, thank you to you guys. I think I thanked you last time too for continuing to put that in. The more you can put in, the better. I mean, if you only work weekends, you don't have to put that you're unavailable during the week. It's really the weekends that we're really looking for that information.
Less availability is also less unavailability is also.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good point, Mike. But yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're unavailable, you're unavailable. But yes, the majority of you don't have like months of unavailability. Lisa, you would just mark yourself as unavailable that weekend in Sling. In the SOPs, it tells you how to do that. Okay. Lindsay, I'm going to hand it over to you now.
Perfect. So, Hospital of the Month, we actually had the most votes this month so far. So, we actually had 10 clinics that were voted for. So, everyone got one single vote. So, 10 different clinics got voted for, which was great. A lot of taking non clients when they kind of would not normally. So, like Baxter won't take non clients after 9, but they took one just before 9 o'clock, like a couple minutes before, even though the client was going to get there after 9. Island Animal Hospital took a critical case that would not have made it off the island, which was great for them to do that. Just a lot of clinics being very positive when on call, when interacting with staff, just being amazing, taking things and still keeping a positive attitude. So yeah, some really great things. We did have one clinic as well that took a cockatiel for us. That usually it's a 6 to 8 week wait time, but they actually took it for us. I think it was like next day, which was great. So I'm gonna actually I picked 4 of the clinics. Some of them had already won, so we'll try to save no double winners for now. So I'll make a little poll and then everyone can vote, and we'll see who the winner is at the end.
Amy, you ready? If you want to do your slide.
Hi, friends. Lots of questions around T2200, which is your declaration for working from home. Thanks for your patience. It's been a huge undertaking this year, a little bit bigger than in years past. They are in process and will be sent to you via your email address. They will not be in Sage. If you need your T2200 urgently, please send an email directly to me and I will expedite it to you. Just so that everyone is aware that when you file your taxes, you don't don't technically have to have that declaration. They won't, there'll be no change over last year to the declaration, but if your accountant does require it and you're in a need of a quick turnaround, just don't hesitate to send me an email and I will send that out to you ASAP and prioritize it. Otherwise, I'm hoping that you guys will see them later this week or early next week. Again, thanks for your patience.
So I've been here since the beginning of the RVT line, but we did kind of start as a different, like just an online telemedicine service before. And I thought maybe it'd be kind of fun at this meeting for Sharon and Mike to just kind of put you both on the spot, but kind of see if you guys wanted to just kind of talk to about how we started, like what the mission was, and then we can kind of talk about where we are now. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to do a little brief timeline of Smart.
Oh, that's neat, Sarah. Thank you for that. Yeah, I can start, and then Mike, if you want to jump in, we started in. I can go right back. So 2017, the idea of starting a telemedicine platform was brought to me by a friend of mine who was just curious because he had done a telemedicine consult for his own health, and he thought, why don't we have this for pets? So we started discussing it, and then it came up the conference in Orlando that year, that people were talking a lot about telemedicine. And so we decided to go ahead and create a platform that initially the idea was it was a software program that we could give to hospitals so they could kind of brand it as their own and then provide their own telemedicine service using their own staff. And then what happened over time was we were hearing, this is during COVID now, a lot of clinics implemented it, but then we were hearing from so many clinics that they were really struggling to manage their after hours on call, that they were struggling to manage the flow through the ERs. We had ERs with literally waits in the 30 some odd hours. The London ER in particular, I think we were sometimes at 28 to 36 hour waits there. It was just insane. And so people needed help trying to kind of control the flow through the hospitals and stop the burnout from happening. So we started running a bit of a triage service just with veterinarians, and it was triage only. We weren't doing full telemedicine consults. We were just kind of triaging cases to determine where they needed to go and if they needed to go into Emerge or not. And we recognized that that was really having an impact in helping people. And from there, we decided to start offering full telemedicine. When we did full telemedicine, though, we were running into issues of people booking telemedicine consults for things like porcupine quills and blocked cats. And so things were ending up in the queue that were dangerous to leave in queue because obviously we were losing valuable time in some cases that needed to be spent getting them to physical care. So we, at that point, decided that we really needed an RVT line. When we decided we needed a phone line, and we decided, of course, that line would be best manned by skilled professionals who understood what they were hearing and were able to triage appropriately. So RVTs made the most sense there. And implementing the RVT line made all the difference in the world to us. As far as the level of care and service we could provide the clients. And I don't know how we ever survived without the RVT line, actually, or without RVTs in general, because back in the day, we were doing all the transfers and script calling in and all that stuff. DBMs were doing that all themselves. And so I remember one time it took me 2 hours to find a transfer for a Proptost eyeball. And so it really slowed us down. And so you guys make all the difference. And really, I think having the two tiers of service, having the RVTs and the DVMs is what makes our service so special. And there's really nothing quite like it out there. And then also the fact that we're working through hospitals. So all of that has come about just as a natural process, a natural evolutionary process through need expressed by professionals, our clients, our colleagues in hospitals, and just what they need, where they're finding that their struggles are. It's all just been a natural progression. I don't know, Mike, if you want to add anything into that.
No, I think that was a great history on it. Yeah, I think it's really been focused on clinic need and needs of the veterinary staff, and we've been really focused on that and driven by that. I mean, if you look at other telemedicine solutions, everybody's kind of focused on what does the pet owner need, and we're really the only ones that have adopted this focus on the practice. So that also has brought to light virtual locum support, where we have our doctors virtually in the clinic. Again, something that came out of need for practices. We've then more recently started supporting PetSmart stores, but we haven't lost sight of the relationships with practices through that. And then hopefully we'll very soon be continuing to expand into other provinces and states. And so I think there's a lot of you may not always see the impact that it has on the practices. I think Sharon and I and Amanda and Jenny, because we have interactions with clinics quite frequently. I mean, sometimes we'll put it in the Slack channels, but I think the coolest part about what we all do is just the impact that it has on the day-to-day lives of the veterinary staff. And so, yeah, it would be really cool if there was a more direct way. I'm sure you guys get it a little bit through osmosis through the phones and talking to veterinary staff for sure. And maybe in some ways more than we might. But yeah, just know that it's having a big impact. So we're really excited to keep growing it and keep helping more practices.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. I wish there was a way. We keep saying at OVMA 1 year we need to just record people, like have a little video booths. People can record the impact, particularly for our on-call hospitals. It's just been huge for them in terms of improving the quality of life of the staff. So it'd be nice for you guys to hear that directly from them. So we'll try and figure out a way to do that.
When we were at the OVMA, the sign that we had when you went over the tunnel, like the bridge to go to the trade show, you could actually see our sign from the far side of that bridge. And then as people would walk into the trade show, they would just go, "SmartVet, we love you," and they'd be running over. Like we felt like rock stars. It was awesome.
Well, and Jenny, weren't you actually? Jenny, you were actually a rock star. You sang karaoke.
Oh, be quiet.
You did. I saw it.
I was forced and paid,
In
so
the
that's
morning.
good. Yeah.
In the morning.
Yeah. It was the worst karaoke because it was literally a microphone with somebody's phone trying to play the music. So not.
Well, you took one for the team there, so thank you.
Sure did. Sure did.
On the other side of the evolution of the RVT line, I mean, it's evolved quite a bit. Like we started on two separate platforms. One platform we'd take the notes on, and then you'd have to go into a different platform to book the consultation, and the platform was like very limited in what it could do. So yeah, that's been a pretty big evolution too. I don't know, Sarah, if you want to like add to that, but
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it was very different.
I just said, the good old days when training was kind of a nightmare trying to explain that to people. But yeah, because, SmartVet existed on its own, and yeah, we had to copy and paste
Oh yeah.
everything over. And yeah, I mean, again, I'm one of the original RVTs. There's, I think, 8 of us from the very beginning, and just seeing how the company's grown and the service has grown and just the platform's growing, I think is, I think something that maybe we don't always think about, like where we were and where we are now. And I just thought it would be nice to kind of touch on that today, especially we've added ACAs. We do different things. We've arranged in-person tech appointments. Like that's not something we did at the beginning. My first night was the first night where we had on call. It was the Grey Bruce group, and Mike and I fuddled our way through it and we figured it out. I don't know if you remember that, Mike. You were kind of backing me up on finding numbers and stuff because the portal was perfect, and look where we are now. So I just think it's a cool reflection, I think. So
Yeah, it's interesting. It's really cool that you brought this up. Like the copy pasting, I kind of feel bad that you put everybody through all that copy pasting.
yeah,
And
we're
then
we're still here, so we must not hate you too much. So.
like make passwords for the the clients.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. And Sharon and I would do overnights sometimes when we didn't have the teams. Yeah, it's funny. No, thanks for doing that, Sarah. Actually, it's really interesting.
Yeah. I remember we didn't have any overnight coverage. It was just me. And then if I was really tired, I would just tell London Emerge, guys, I'm shutting down I can't cover after 2. I need to go to bed. I would say from 2 to 6, please don't call me. But yeah, we've come a long way for sure. And I mean, it's really all thanks to the whole team. It's the team as a whole that has, and I say this all the time, we can't believe the people that we've kind of collected over the years and like just the quality of the staff that we have here. all of you. Like it's just, we're so impressed all the time just by how much everyone cares and how much everyone puts in of themselves. And we really we just couldn't have planned it any better. I just like it just kind of, I feel sometimes like it really fell into our laps, like some of the people, because it really is the people that make it, right? We can have all the systems and processes in the world, but if the people don't care and the people don't have their hearts in the right place, it's not going to become what you want it to be. And so I really like kudos to all of you for all of your hard work, really.
Good job, Nancy, finding a good team.
Yeah. Except me, says Sarah.
I could have done without Sarah.
I don't know why I'm still here.
Yes, please.
I'm confused. I assume once the resource center is finished, that's when I'll be canned, because I can just leave.
Well, Sarah, you actually didn't meet the criteria, but I chose to hire you regardless. So
Yep.
we're good, right?
Yep.
Because we
I
were
know you
looking.
told me that story, and thank you, Nancy.
I know. We were looking for people with a merge clinic experience on top of the list. And even though that wasn't something you had a lot of great skills, and I just knew you would be a great fit for the team.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Nancy. That's very sweet of you to say. I know it's because there's only people in this room. If we were by ourselves, it'd be different, but it's okay. I'm just teasing. No, seriously though, you guys are awesome, and I just thought this would be like a nice little walk down memory lane. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, Sarah.
Speaking of being positive, Sharon, do you want to take over here?
Yeah, I think we wanted to talk a little bit about this. Like a lot of the positive feedback we definitely, I mean, we say it's not only for veterinarians. I think we need to give more positive feedback to all of this stuff, I think to veterinarians as well, but certainly to RVTs and ACAs for the work that you're doing. We do get feedback for sure from clients who, and I think, a lot of it does end up in that Slack channel. I don't know how much you guys everyone's looking in there or seeing the positive feedback. But there's so much of it that does come in from the clients, and I hope that you guys are paying attention to that in Slack, and know that you're having an impact. I mean, we see the reviews coming in on our email as well, and not every review gets posted in the Slack channel either, but we see a lot of positive stuff coming in. So I think we need to certainly do a better job at conveying that. I mean, one of the bits of feedback we've had recently is that you guys get a lot of, you get your corrections, and we'll contact you and say, hey, maybe this could have been done better, this could have been done differently, or and certainly that's something that we do, but we need to make sure that we're praising more than we're correcting. And so we're certainly going to make some more effort to do that. And I hope that we can find some creative ways to make sure we're delivering the feedback to you that, all the positive impact that you're having.
98% satisfaction rate. It's huge.
Yeah, that's massive, guys. Yeah.
And I think I just want to say to that this is something that I've struggled with my entire career, and I know that there's lots of you that probably feel the same. As you get one bad client or one grumpy person, one rude person, like the one I had last week or the week before, I can't even remember now, and that's all you can think about. And I think we need to focus on the 98% more, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
I am guilty of that. Trust me, that was not a good day for me. But then, you know what? The next day, I had like 7 wonderful clients in a row. Do I remember any of their names? No, but they were lovely. So I just thought that, we should try to focus on the positive more for sure. And that 98% is awesome. Like,
Yeah,
that's incredible.
absolutely. Thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
I just was going to add to, I made a comment too one time with the group I was working with that, it's a huge, like, you have to see the tiny positive things too, right? So the fact that people trust us when we're even collecting their payment information. So like those poor little old people that have heard all these things about clients that get ripped off or people that get taken advantage of online, like those little things, that's a big thing for someone to just to say, hey, yeah, okay, here's my payment information. And so you need to sort of see those even little things, just knowing that they're trusting us to get them into a technology they're not comfortable with, to guide them through a process they've never been in before. So something that I like to really actually like take a moment and so I'll say thanks so much and we're going to get through this together and those things, and then you've got that client on the phone on like working with you, and you're part of a team. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jenny. Sarah, is this you or me?
It doesn't matter. I don't know if you want to continue with the whole positive feedback thing. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, just reminding everyone that you can give positive feedback about your teammates on shift and by tagging them in the Slack channel, emailing management, and then also nominating for ballots by messaging team leads. Please keep that up. It's awesome for us to see. I think it sets a really positive culture up for SmartVet, and I think it's sort of when the newer staff see that happening, everyone's encouraged to contribute and to keep it going. And everyone deserves to hear when they've done a good job. And management's not always going to be there to see it, so it's nice for the people who are kind of in the trenches to comment when they see something special happening, and it's nice for people to feel recognized for going above and beyond. Is this me, Sarah, or you?
If you want to keep taking it, I have slides here.
You just sit there and have your dinner. It's
Okay,
fine.
that sounds good.
Okay, so while you don't need to have registration in a particular province to answer calls in that province, you do need to introduce yourself based on where your registration is. So if you're an RBT registered in Ontario and you answer a call from BC client, please mention that you're an RBT in Ontario, because otherwise the assumption that they make might be that you're an RBT from British Columbia, which would be obviously inaccurate. And so we don't want anyone to be or feel misled. And same in the reverse. If you're registered in BC and you answer an Ontario client call, please say that you're an RBT in BC. You can just always introduce yourself for every call. It's up to you, but fundamentally, you just need to make sure that you're clear if you're not registered in that area, that you state where you are. If you happen to be dual licensed, you don't need to differentiate yourself on calls. That's fine, but it is nice, I think, still to just introduce yourself by name and mention that you're an RBT. And you don't need to say what province, because the assumption will be that you're registered wherever that client's calling from. Yes, Melissa, that's a good point. Also tell them that they'll be seeing a DVM registered in their province as well.
So I think it might have been the last meeting where we talked about having some sort of channel where we could put um, ongoing like wording that's helpful for clients and that kind of thing. And I did create the talk tracks Slack channel, not a ton in there since we started, which is okay. But what I have done is I have taken, I think, all of them. I will do a sweep again of all the canned messages, replies, texts, like the closing text, the text when we're triaging, the text when there's a wait time extension, any of those. And they're all pinned in that channel for easy access rather than you having to pull up the SOP every time. But please continue to add any helpful phrasing to this channel as well. I'm hoping the pinning will be the easiest. Obviously, if you see one in there or you don't see one in there that you think should be in there, just send me a message and I'll go find it. But I think I have most of them. Yeah, I just thought that would probably be the easiest, and giving you guys another document with just those. So I'll take feedback if you guys think it's a silly idea, but I think that made the most sense. So that is where they are, which is leading us into a new texting line that I'm going to hand over to Amanda.
Hello, everybody. I have asked my boyfriend not to scream at his computer during this hour, but I make no promises. So if you hear yelling, he is currently in battle with some virtual who knows what. Anyway, so we are introducing a new option for hospitals here. What I'd like to start by saying is it's not something that we're announcing to the hospitals. So I'm not going to be sending out an email saying, this is not anytime soon anyway, like this is a new option that we're providing. It's actually come from a request from one of our BC hospitals, North Peace, but we've decided that we can offer it to basically any hospital if they express interest in it. So what it is basically an urgent text line for ongoing transfers. That is it. That is all it's for, nothing else. There is an SOP that has, maybe you can hear him yelling right now. The SOP has some canned responses as well. If you are getting messages through here that aren't related to transfers. The reason this has started, and I might jinx myself here, but I don't think it'll be used a lot. But with North Peace, they're the only ones that know about this currently, is they see large animal, but they quite often, the majority of the time, have the large animals trailered to the hospital. They see a very large area, 2 hours plus away. And with their old service, they were able to receive a text from the service they were using when a client was nearby. Now they've just been having their clients have to call us back. They have to listen to all the prompts again. Um, they are farmers, as you know, sometimes they can be set in their ways. So to have to listen to the prompts again can become frustrating. So this is just an easier way for them to be able to text us to give us an ETA of where they are. So the vet, we can then tell the vet and they can head into the clinic. So they're not staying awake or waiting around at the hospital. Um, with our small animals, it is easy to just give an ETA from the beginning, but they're trying to trailer these animals. So who knows when they're actually going to leave once we've coordinated that they can head in. So it is just nice for them to provide us with that ETA when they're nearby. So what's going to happen and what we've discussed with the hospital is we're not actually providing the number to the hospital. They are going to basically request that we provide the phone number to the client. At that point, we will text them. You'll see a canned response or a canned text in the SOP. That way, they will actually have the number, so they're not scrambling to add it to their phone. They'll have it there. And then they will just text us when they are nearby. The vet should request when they're speaking with the client, please send a text message when you are this far away. So they're not going to be providing it. We're going to know that it's being sent, and it's up to us to kind of keep an eye on it. It is labeled as urgent. So you will see in air call where it generally says like Ontario SMS line or along those lines, you are going to see that urgent there. I know there's a lot of text messages that come through. What I have been doing now that we can put a filter in for each, for like every day or every week, I have my air call to just daily. So I can see the red notification whenever a new message comes through, so I can check to see if anybody has responded to it. We know that this might not be smooth at the beginning, and it's definitely different, but we think it will definitely be beneficial. And like I said, I'm not sure how many hospitals will want to do it, but if they are showing some interest or I think they might benefit, we might mention it as an option to them. And if you have anything to add, please feel free.
I just have a question. What's the benefit of doing the urgent text line than just the regular text line? Can't we just text them on the text line and have them text back?
We could. We are finding that text messages are getting missed still, or there's a text message that hasn't been answered after 24 hours that really should have. So by doing this and having it pop up as urgent, we're hoping it will direct more attention to the text message.
How does it? Okay, I'm gonna have to see it in action. I think I'm confused just how it's gonna pop up as urgent.
Yeah, if you go into your like air call and you look at the text messages in like a gray little bar or bubble, it says what the line is. So we're just hoping to identify this one as more urgent, so people will be keeping
Okay.
a closer eye on it, just because
Okay.
we are getting text messages that are being missed. Some are quite important. So we're just hoping to bring more attention to it by having these capital letters.
If we're using this for multiple hospitals for like, because you said right now it's North Peace, but you said we're hoping to spread it for other hospitals. If it's the same line, how will we know which client, like if they don't identify themselves because we texted them, how will we know which client it is and where they're heading?
That is a wonderful question. We have, so as it gets bigger, we probably should be asking them to, when they text us back, to identify which location they are headed to.
Okay.
Yeah,
We actually, I will say, we didn't really consider that too much. We are starting the text message to them, including the name. But if we do get a lot of hospitals involved, we might have to look into a better protocol. And I think
If
and
you
Mike
have
wants to
multiple
share something.
clients going to the same
yeah,
location, that's why.
so in the canned message, I haven't seen the canned message, but when we discussed it, there's a hospital name in there, so you'll know which hospital you need to notify that night. So that's all you really need to know. That hey, a client just texted back at this phone number, saying they'll be there in 15 minutes, right?
But if there's two different clients heading to the different clinics and they're both going to be texting, how do I know which is which?
To different clinics, because you'll have the text messages, the messaging themselves are in different threads based on who you're messaging. So you'll see a message that goes to one client that says, when you're 15 minutes out from hospital X, text back this line. So they'll text back that line. You'll check hospital X's on call. You'll text that doctor saying a client from this phone number just notified they're 15 minutes away. Said that
Okay, so there'll be
client.
several urgent SMS threads then.
Yeah, right. I'm not wrong, and
No, you're correct. So it's not like,
Okay.
it's kind of the opposite of messaging an on-call hospital, because they have one single number. So
Gotcha.
everything is in there. We are messaging individual numbers. So just like if you were texting multiple people from your single phone number,
Mhm.
it won't all show up in one text message. You'll have separate contacts.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
your
Thank you.
threads are managed by phone number, right? Is who you're messaging.
correct.
So you won't have two clients in one thread. That'll never happen because
Okay,
phone numbers. Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
So it should kind of resolve itself through that. The thinking too of having this separate line, also to kind of add to Amanda's answer for Kristen's question, is that it also means that if something comes in through the urgent SMS line, anyone can handle the response. It's not just the individual who sent the message, which I think we often default to that with the SMS line, is like, oh, a message just came in, but I'm going to let whoever initiated the message respond. If you see something come in on the urgent SMS line, put a quick message in Slack, hey, I got this one, and anyone can reply to any of the. You don't have to wait for this to be your, you don't have to wait for the person who sent the original message to respond, right? You can let the on-call know even if this was not your client that you dealt with, and that's the other purpose for dividing this, is it puts into a different category, if you will. But just make sure to let the team know, that way we don't have two people that end up texting the on-call and texting the client back at the same time.
Okay, thank you.
Would it be, should we, well, if I get my words out, I'm sorry, I'm tired. If we could, at the end, once we've notified the on-call or whomever we're notifying, maybe just send back to that client, notified or received, so that the whole team knows that that particular message has been handled.
There's a canned reply, Kristen, in the
Oh, okay. Read the SOP first, Kristen. Maybe start asking questions.
That's exactly it. So that the team knows that it's handled. I mean, hey, look, we send two messages to the on-call. We send two messages to the client. Okay, great. Two people were on top of it. I mean, it's not a bad thing. We're just adding this extra, make sure to reply and put a message in spots so the team is aware. Nobody's going to get upset if two people handled it. It's totally fine. So, yeah. I'd say probably just read the SOP, and if there's any other questions, reach out to Amanda or Sarah. Yeah. Cool. Awesome. That's a great video of me, by the way, Sarah.
I was gonna say, this is your slide if you'd like. Well, not this one, the next one. But if you wanted to take troubleshooting, I put for you. So
Yeah. So I think what might be, I'll try to do this like relatively quickly, but what might be helpful too is to kind of show what our clients are seeing on the pet owner side, because I know this has been helpful in the past. So I'm just going to share my screen. Sarah, I'm going to take over your share screen here. Cool. So I think it's just helpful to actually show everyone, and I know there's a video on this, but if you guys have questions about it, you guys can jump in and ask. But just a couple of troubleshooting tips for using it. So I've shrunk my screen down to a phone screen, because most of our clients are going to be doing this on their phone when they're interacting with it. What the page looks like when you're in an appointment. So from the consultation screen. So when you walk a client, you press the button, it kind of auto logs them into their consultation, and then you point out to them that there's a blue press to open video chat button. That's the one that you're seeing on the screen. Just to show you what else they have in the platform, if they click the little 3 bars to the left, they have their dashboard. They have pets on file, all of their past consults. Invoices are here too. So I like to point that one out because sometimes it comes up, where do I find my invoices? They actually have a page dedicated to it. If they end up on a dashboard, you might even hear a client that says, I see book a new consult on my screen. You might have heard that. That's because they're on their dashboard. So I want to point that out too, that's where they are. They'll only have one consultation at the very top. I obviously have my test account here, so I have multiple, but there's the green enter button. So if you hear that they're on their dashboard, press the green enter button. That brings you there. So yeah, exactly. The magic link would bring someone to their dashboard. Versus if they pressed not the magic link, but the regular invite that says, hey, you've created a consultation, press here to open it. That would bring them right to the consultation page. Versus the magic link always brings to the dashboard. And so from here, they click press to open video chat, and then this will take over the entire screen. They have to allow access to the camera and microphone. You guys probably aren't even seeing this. Like I get a little pop-up that says allow. This will then show my camera. I can come on camera. Hi, everybody. And so they can then get situated with themselves, and there's that blue button to join once they're ready to do that. I'll turn off my camera. You guys don't need to see me, but they can toggle their camera and microphone. That's really all they need to do. Now, before they go in, there is also this option to just make sure that they've selected the right camera microphone. I wouldn't really get into this too much with clients. I don't think you're going to necessarily need to. I mean, it could be useful if they have like their Bluetooth headset plugged in or whatever. They may have to select the correct microphone or speakers, but for the most part, they'll be able to just click join and go right into it. And this is where you're then going to join them on the other side, right? And you'll be able to see them and hear them. The first thing to do if you can't hear them or see them is to tell them to leave and come back in. The other thing to consider is that they may have, so what could have happened is that you did all of this while on the phone with them, and they have their mobile phone in their hand, and they click press to open video chat while still on the phone with you. So they haven't joined the session, but they've gotten this far while still on the phone. And then you hang up the phone and say, I'm going to be there with you soon. And then you click join. Well, they still entered the video technically while on the call with you. Even though they weren't in the video, they had that little kind of test screen ahead of it, right? So that could cause some issues with the microphone, where the microphone wasn't properly passed to the video because you were still in the call when they technically joined. So again, just classic thing to do is you just have them leave and then go back in, right? That's always going to be your easiest, best bet to fix any audio or video issues. Beyond that, if we don't have any fixes beyond just leaving and going back in, it's ensuring that your permissions are set properly, which will be in the browser somewhere. Usually when you have a screen that has asked for permission to the camera, there's a little camera icon at the top. I don't know if you'll see it here, but no, you probably won't see it here. So we go in. Yeah, you can see it now. So if you're on Chrome, it's this little camera icon. Just ensuring that permissions are enabled for that is obviously important. Beyond that, though, I'd say, if that's not working for them, we can usually just pretty well default to we can do this over a phone consultation, like just a regular phone call. Of course, you do have the options, though, if video seems pretty necessary for the particular case. You have the option of try another device. You have the option of making sure that that Chrome has been updated. Those are going to be a little bit of lengthy steps because they have to update the app or whatever. So just base that off of how important you feel video is going to be for that particular case at that point. But honestly, leaving and coming back in will fix most issues. So hopefully that's helpful there. I also just quickly want to show, I'm sharing my right screen here. I also just quickly want to point out again for a few of you, just if the client is not able to log in. So the quickest way to get them to get access, go to show details and intake questions, open the profile page for that particular client. On this page, we have a couple options that are helpful. You can do send password reset link, which sends them a link to reset their password. Great. You can send them a magic link, which a magic link is just a link that they press, which automatically logs them in. So again, key reminder that it brings them to their dashboard when they do this. And then we've got create a temporary password. So in an instance where they maybe don't have email, or email is not accessible, or emails aren't being received, I'm not going to click it because I don't want to change my password for this account. That would suck. But if you click this, it actually gives you a temporary password you can read to the client. And the other thing to know about this, you can click this as many times as you want until you get a password that's easy to read. Because sometimes you get a password from this that's like some random jargon of like symbols and letters, and some of the symbols I don't even know what to call them. So just keep clicking it until you find a temporary password that's easy enough to read to the client. Okay. Sarah, anything else you think I should cover for troubleshooting?
No, I think that was all of it. I just put a couple messages, or as you were doing things, in the chat in case anybody missed them. There are screenshots for where the permissions are for Android and iPhone. And shout out to Jenny because she has an Android and I don't, so I had no way of getting those screenshots. And just a reminder that for switching the camera, that is in the SOPs now. You can't really switch a camera on a PC, obviously.
Yeah.
But for a tablet, there's a drop down menu. And shout out to Krista for giving me those screenshots because I don't own a tablet. And on the phone, it's the most simplest one. It's literally in the top left corner.
Yeah, I can point out where it would be. So I'm just sharing my screen again. While in video, they really only have a couple things that they can do. It actually looks different than this on mobile because I'm on my computer right now. On mobile, you'd have like a camera icon right here that has a little kind of two little arrows pointing towards each other in a circle. That would flip the camera. In the top right corner, you'd have a red leave button. So I'm on a PC, well, a Mac right now, so it's showing in the bottom right, but it would be up here in a red leave button. So when you tell a client to leave, it's helpful to always say, look for the red leave button. It'll be in the top right or bottom right corner of your screen. It just depends what device they're on. And then they also have at the bottom here a place where they can message. So they can click the little message icon, they can message. Then this little paper clip is a way that they can upload files into it. So if they've already joined the video, they can upload files directly from that little paperclip button. If they haven't joined video yet, they can still upload files. They just have to go to the Files section and click Upload File. Just in case it ever comes up, if a client's ever wondering how they can get access to their medical notes, that's at the very bottom of the screen. They have to have left the video. Right at the bottom, they'll see the medical notes. Oh, another common, I've seen a few emails now that are like, you sent me my medical notes, but they expired. All what that is, if you hear that from a client, is it means that they got an email that said there's been an update to your medical notes, but then they go to click the button that says view the notes, and the link has expired in that button. That's all. The notes haven't expired. It's just that link has expired. They just need to log into the application and go to the appointment and find those notes at the bottom of the page. When a client goes to log in, so if a client's doing this on their own time, anybody who goes to log into our system, and this also applies for you guys too, you put in your email, and then at the very bottom of the login screen, there's this green email magic link button. So you can send them a magic link, but they can also send themselves a magic link. And so that's usually how we troubleshoot people through getting access to their records, is use that button, the magic link button, and you'll get in from there. So yeah, hopefully that's helpful to go through that.
I have a few side tips too to add, Mike, if that's okay.
Please, yeah.
So with audio troubleshooting, I have found some tips with the clients too that I found if you can hear them, but they can't hear you very well, I have found that it's the speaker setting isn't changing. It's actually still staying on their earpiece speaker. So they can actually hear you, but they're not hearing you very loudly. So I'm having people switch to their speaker, like their loudspeaker. And if that still doesn't work, then I'm asking them to put in a headset, and that has cleared up that issue too as well, where they can just plug the headset into the phone and then they've overridden that speaker, the earpiece speaker. And then also on a side note, for the temp passwords, I have, instead of having to say all those goofy letters that sometimes come up, I will copy and paste the temp password and text it to them. So then they can just copy it and put it in instead of actually having to say the letters.
That's perfect.
That helps anybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you, Kristen. You also have what Sarah's got at the top of the screen there, add video participant links. That's in the consultation page. You can send a link. That kind of helps streamline it a bit because it's just a link to join the video directly. Keep in mind though, if you add someone in as a video participant through that link, they're not logging into the application. They're in the video session as a guest effectively. So they don't have the ability to message the doctor or to upload files into the consultation. They can just participate in video when we do it that way. So just keep that in mind. You would have to send them the separate send file upload link to allow them to access the file uploads. Okay.
Just a quick reminder for those of you completing consult review, please check the tracking note section for additional instructions that'll be relating to invoicing. We have had a few lately that were supposed to be reduced consult that were charged full price. The reason for reduced consult can be for multiple reasons, whether it's management or one of the admin or even the doctor. So pretty please double check the tracking notes before you start charging. Things like pet poison consults, the additional pet charge, things that are no charge, even if there's a pre-authorization, maybe that vet decided to charge after, not charge afterwards, my apologies, you'd want to use the no charge consult add-on. So I just want to remind everybody of that. And obviously, if you come across one that's really confusing, just reach out to one of your leads or me or Lindsay if you're on during the day or during the week, and we can probably look into it. So this is me again. I don't know why I turned off my microphone. This is kind of a little known secret that I use that I got from Mike actually for when I'm doing accounts receivable. I generally will call people from the same area code. They're more likely to answer than a 647 if they're in a 705. But what I'm finding lately, and I have tested this, that some of our lines are coming up as likely spam. I think everybody kind of knows that. Like the client will even say, I answered you, but it came up as likely spam. I don't know if you know that. And it's just something that's out of our control. And sometimes if you call a pharmacy and you get stuck on hold without speaking to a human, I'm thinking, anecdotally thinking, that it's because the call is possibly looked up as a possible spam call. So I would recommend if you don't get through to change your line, just like you change if you're going to send a text to one that just matches a similar area code, and you might get lucky. I think Steph did this the other day and tested it and did it with the standard IVR, the regular RVT line, did it twice and it didn't go through. And then the third time she tried a different line and it went through. Not to put you on the spot, Steph, but I'm pretty sure it was you the other night. But I know that it has worked for me. And same thing with clients. So when you're doing a transfer, if you call them back on an area code that matches, in theory, they are more likely to answer. So just a little tip. I can't guarantee it will always work, but I would try it. Easy to do. And you can use any of the lines. It does not matter.
This happens to me a lot because I'm calling about 30 to 40 clinics a day. And so sometimes, yeah, they'll pick up, but they're expecting it to be like a recording. And then they're like, oh, you're not spam. I'm like, thank you for picking up. I often tell a client while we're dealing with their case to be aware that if they do end up getting a call that says likely spam, please answer it. As it could be the vet or our staff trying to help let them know additional information. So I just kind of put that out there. It happens to me all the time. So it's one of my regular things I say.
And for those who work the middle of the night, make sure your phone is off do not disturb so you're able to receive calls. I usually remind the clients that too.
Yes, and I also apologize to them if they do answer the phone. I say, I apologize if you do end up with a telemarketer, but it's better safe than sorry.
Yeah, Sabina, you can just scroll through, or if you're trying to find a 705 and that's a North Bay number, you can just pull up calendar or something like that. Exactly what Steph said. Yeah, so bury down, that's fine. So PetSmart's still trucking along. I think we've got a pretty good base of consults every day, exotics and own pets. Just want to do a couple reminders and a couple updates. When you're looking for prescriptions for PetSmart cases, especially exotics, don't forget to use that spreadsheet in the resource center that lists clinics that are willing to fill medication. As we all know, exotics can be kind of hard to find. There are some other options. We could reach out to Nelson or Vetwell. I know we have in the past for some specific exotics that we just can't get, so that's still an option. And just make sure that we do have the pet owner name prior to sending the prescription. This should be captured during the call if it's an RVT booked, or during triage if staff booked. And then just a couple quick updates. We have updated the PetSmart accounts to have additional information to capture: the staff member name and the department the pet is located in. The reason that's important is, if you aren't aware, I did send a message out and I'm trying to catch people on shift, but the PetSmart consultations are now all booked under the store account. There aren't separate hotel and store. This is just to make things easier for the staff to have a single sign on. However, if a hotel case books, we need to, if we can all do that, it'd be great, email a copy of the medical record and invoice to the hotel location's email address. The reason for this is they have a separate email than the store, and they obviously want to be able to give that information to the hotel clients. I have listed all the hotel emails in the PetSmart article in the SOP, and I'm going to have our leads be in charge of keeping an eye out for hotel consults and just ensuring this is done. And we do have some more updates that are in the works on how to arrange prescriptions and book consultations for PetSmart cases. They're coming. We're just all working out the little kinks, but we'll keep you guys updated as we have more info. Okay. And the next couple, I think, are you, Sharon?
Thanks, Sarah. Okay, so we're just starting to work on a partnership with Pilots for Paws, and this is still in its infancy. Pilots for Paws is currently becoming registered as a charity here in Canada, and it is essentially a network of volunteer pilots who are happy to fly. They have a few planes accessible to them. They're happy to fly into remote areas to pull animals out who really need to get physical care and don't have a means of getting there. So the fly in, fly out communities for sure would be benefited by this. They do have a website. We'll get you the information. We can start requesting flights as of right now off of their website, but we are going to have a more formal partnership with them once they're properly registered. And they do anticipate that they're going to have access to even more planes. Essentially, the way that it works is we can't pay them. We can't pay these pilots, but they're permitted to volunteer to get animals out. And it's 2 pilots that would be in attendance for every evacuation of a pet. And I'm excited about where this could potentially go. So we're working on it. We're just kind of getting it started. We'll keep you guys posted. But if you, I'll have Sarah create one of her famous SOPs for how we can work with them currently. If we have an animal that's in dire straits and needs to be evacuated from to physical care, then you certainly can arrange for that now. This is in Ontario currently. We'll let you know when we have something available for other areas as well. Okay, this is me, isn't it, Sarah?
Sure is.
I think, do you want to go to that next slide? I think the next slide touches on it too, doesn't it? Yeah. So as I review calls, I know I mentioned this I think I mentioned this last time, or maybe I'm imagining it, but I do find as amazing as the RVT you guys are, I do find still I'm consistently, and it's obviously not everyone, but I do struggle sometimes to understand some of the communications that I hear on recording. And I know that part of the reason I'm struggling to understand it is because I'm not doing it. And so when there's an awkward silence, a prolonged silence on the phone, I know it's just because you're entering information into the computer. I know that, and I know that's the reason why. From the client's perspective, though, so many times I hear, "Hello, are you still there?" And really, we can mitigate that by just explaining to the client, "I'm just entering some information for you," because as soon as they ask that question, that's exactly what you guys say. It's really nice if you can let them know that you're going to be quiet for a minute, so that they don't feel kind of lost. And the other place where I find that happening is that sometimes they'll express anxiety or sadness or panic, or, is he going to die? Those kinds of things. And the response that comes back is very matter of fact, requesting information, which I know is you trying to streamline the process and make it more efficient. I do appreciate that. But I think that sometimes the empathy gets a little lost in the mix. And if they were in person in front of you, it'd be a lot easier to convey through body language and other means. But when we just have the phone at our disposal, we really have to make sure that our words are being used to convey the empathy. And so it's as simple, it doesn't take a lot of time, but it's as simple as just saying, you know, I know you're really stressed. I'm so sorry for what you're going through. Please allow me to try and get this information from you as quickly as I can. But I think it is really, really important to kind of reflect back to them that you understand how stressed out that they are. And they often, you know, a lot of times they're more upset, we know, than the situation maybe warrants, but they don't know that. And so it's important to meet them where they are and have an understanding for where they are at emotionally and mentally in that moment, and to convey that to them. And a lot of you are doing this consistently. And so, but there are some who definitely are not. And I really think that we have to show that genuine concern on the call makes all the difference as far as the client's experience and their memory of the type of care that we gave to their pet. Sorry about the background noise here. Yeah. So validating them, and expressing that you're here to help. Those are really important things that we are sometimes missing, guys, in these calls. So I guess what I wanted to chat about was that the empathy statements, and then the awkward silences where the client feels like, are you even listening, or did you even hear what I just said? Because sometimes they'll convey information to you and there's not an acknowledgement back. It's just sometimes you can hear typing and sometimes you can't. And maybe your assumption is they can hear the typing, but sometimes they really can't. So then they just sort of feel like no one's listening. Yeah, that's possible, Cheryl. I don't know. If there's maybe a delay in air call, that's possible. Yeah, putting comments in the talk tracks makes sense. Yeah. It is sometimes, you know, and I know that you're just trying to be efficient. I do understand what it is that's happening, but it can come across to someone who's experiencing it, you know, from a different perspective than yours, as a little bit cold. And so I just want to make sure the clients are understanding how much we really do care. Jenny. Yeah, maybe it is sometimes delays. I don't know.
The other thing I just want to say personally is, if any of you have been trained by me, you'll know that I'm quite analytical. Um, and it's been something that I've really tried to work on. I mean, we're trying to do a job, and we know that you guys are focused on protocol and, doing the steps and, making sure that you're doing the right thing and that you're getting them to the appropriate level of care. And maybe they are critical, and you're just trying to get through that call as quickly as possible because you, as the RVT, are very concerned about maybe their mentation or, how that's sounding on the call. But I think there is still a place where we can pause and just give reassurance to those clients that, we are here, we totally understand. Something simple that I found lately is, um, I just happened to mention I was booking a pug that had an allergic reaction. Dog was totally stable, so, but I just happened to mention that I had a pug, and that was an instant rapport because she was just like, "Oh my god, did your pug have an allergic reaction? Did she make it okay?" And so I told her about her vaccine reaction. It was really scary, and but we're gonna get her to seen and everything like that. And I did her task after, and she's super helpful, super thankful. But I think that we're so trained as some of us anyway. And like I said, I'm speaking as myself to be RVTs, to just get things done because you know what needs to be done. And I think we just have to just round ourselves, just be a little softer in just our communications. Oh my gosh, I'm definitely going to get you into physical care. Let's just get this done. Let's get some information. And even if it's not a transfer, just even a booking saying, I've got some great vets on tonight. They can definitely meet with you and help you out. I know Fluffy's uncomfortable, so I'm gonna book her as a higher priority. Just these small things will make things so much smoother. That's just my thought.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Sarah. And I still, unfortunately, have recently heard a couple of interactions where it's not expressed clearly to the client that telemedicine is not a dead end. And guys, I can't emphasize this enough. They need to know what their options are. They need to know that if they get into a consultation with a veterinarian and the veterinarian determines that they do need physical in-person care, they're going to get it. Because some of these clients, and the one that I heard recently, the client was saying, well, I know I need physical care, and the pet didn't meet the triage criteria. And again, the client was told, well, I'm sorry, you don't meet the triage criteria. So what I can offer you tonight is a telemedicine consult, period, full stop. And that's just not appropriate. We have to say, what I can offer you for now is this, and here's where it could go. And I think if we approach the situation with empathy, we're naturally going to communicate this stuff, right? Because you're hearing the client. If you're hearing the client saying, I want in person, we don't want to be the barrier to that. But certainly we need to do the triage fully. So it's easy to explain to the client, I completely understand. And so here's kind of the process that will be involved. Our veterinarian's excellent. If they think that you require physical care, they're going to get you there. And otherwise, you don't need it, right? So if it'll be up to them to determine that, and just giving them that level of comfort that they have expertise coming their way that's going to help to make this decision, and that we're a team working with them. I think sometimes that messaging gets a little bit lost. And I'll remind you again that we are dealing with a CBO complaint currently for that exact situation, that exact scenario where a client wasn't offered or wasn't told that there was an option for referral to in-person care. They then declined the telemedicine consultation, and then when their pet passed later in that day, they held us responsible. And so we need to remember not to allow that to happen. And I have heard a call recently where that exact same scenario played out, which is obviously deeply concerning to us. Bridget, I like what you said, interaction, not just a transaction. Super important. If we are approaching things from a position of empathy, we're going to communicate so much more clearly as well. Because if you're putting yourself in their shoes, you know what they need to hear and you know what you need to express. And so things don't get lost in the mix then. Go ahead, Sarah, sorry.
So Beverly just asked, when you listen to a call and disagree with what was said, do you reach out to that tech and let them know? I don't know, Sharon, if you wanted to speak to kind of the process we use for like QA and concerns with calls.
Yeah, typically if there's a systemic issue, like if there's a recurring problem, if there's something that's alarming or recurring problem, there is a process where the concern is brought to us, the recordings are brought to our attention, and then we'll make a decision on whether we need to communicate directly with that RBT. Yes, so yes, typically a call is made or a meeting is set up to have a conversation. Well, of course, we remember too that we're not, especially with the call volumes that we have these days, like there are many calls that aren't listened to. So these are kind of randomly selected, and so we're not catching everything, of course.
I just want to remind everybody too that there is a script in the call log. And I think sometimes as we just get into our own flow of saying things, we forget that it's there. I've been doing this for almost 3 years. I still follow that script. I've changed it in my wording, but that way you don't miss things like the cost of the script, the cost of the medication is additional, 70% thing, which if everybody remembers is not just a made up number, that is a legitimate analytic number. So 7 times out of 10, that client won't have to go for in person. So that's also a nice thing to say to people, because I find if I always put that in, they're like, oh, okay, well, so this makes sense. And in there is, if after the consult, I say it, these are the exact words I say, if after the consult our doctor feels that Fluffy does need to be seen in person, we will absolutely arrange that for you, so that they know that this isn't just, okay, we booked the appointment, have a nice day, and they're done. So, as Sharon said, it is super important that people don't think telemedicine is a dead end. The portal says 70. Is it up to 75? That's a good question. Does anybody know, Mike?
Sorry, what's 70? What are you
The
saying?
70% of cases don't need to be seen in person.
Oh, it's between 70 and 75 consistently. So it fluctuates between that. So
All right. So Jackie and I are both right, so it's fine.
yeah, it's 73 or something like that. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. But yeah, I think the script, if everybody just wants to, like, even just the next time you're on shift before you start taking, just have a read through that script. It's literally all in there, the whole thing about telemedicine not being a dead end cost, all those things. And you don't have to read it robotically. You'll find your own way to do it. And anybody that's been through training with me knows I don't follow the script exactly, but I always make sure to hit those points for a very specific reason. Our CVO case is a perfect example. So And I would say if anybody wants some calls assessed, not to again throw Kristen into the mix here, but if you do want some of your calls to be assessed for, dead air, for your candor and empathy, like any of those things, just reach out. I mean, I can do it too, but obviously it is Kristen's bag and she's happy to do that. I know. She does random quality assurance or like if we need to look at something for a complaint. But I know she's totally open to doing that. So if anybody wants any of their calls looked at, um, not even a specific call, just like, how am I doing? How does my everything sound? I think that would be completely fine for you to reach out to her. And, we all need, I think we all are work in progress no matter what. So just if you feel like you're one of these people that Sharon's talking about, don't, beat yourself up. I've had to work on it really hard. Again, being very analytical, and it's doable. You just gotta know, and you gotta know what to say instead. So yeah,
Oh gosh, we're over time. Sorry, guys. Go ahead. Is this Amy?
we were really early last week, or last month, so we're just evening it out. So
Super fast. We had a great month of help from everyone. Thank you so much for all of your help. We had 59 entries in our ballot draw. If you're new to us, we run a draw each month and the winner is chosen at our meeting, and the prize is a gift card, which I will contact you in regards to. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes. Sorry.
Perfect.
I think we're good.
No. All right. I'm just going to shuffle up the 59 entries. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. And spin the wheel. Congratulations, Kristen. I'll reach out in regards to your prize.
Congrats, Kristen.
Anybody gonna take the last part?
I was gonna say, anybody have any questions? I know we've gone through quite a bit, but
I see that Mandy's asking about, I think she missed what the ballots were for. Sarah, you might have a better explanation than myself if you want to
yeah,
start
yeah.
there.
So there is a document in the resource center that tells you why you can or how you can get ballots, but essentially, if somebody was above and beyond, picked up an SOS like a last minute ship, was nominated by a colleague, we put in a ballot, and then at the beginning of every month at our mandatory staff meeting, we do a draw for a gift card. So yeah, and it's for the RVTs and the ACAs. So it's just like a nice way. Yeah.
Thanks, Sarah. I'm sure I could have explained that, but you've been doing so well at talking. As you do.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And then I don't talk for the rest of the night. But yeah, if anybody has any questions, feel free. Otherwise, we are over time, and we can let you guys go. I'm sure Sharon and Mike have things to do too, like always.
I was just going to make a comment about the ballots that, Sarah's usually really good, or Lindsay too. All the girls seem to be really good at like paying attention on who picks up shifts where and putting your name in for a ballot. But if you feel that you deserved one, or maybe you picked up a shift and you didn't see your name on there, by all means send a message to any of the girls and say, hey, I happen to take the shift, or I happen to stay late, or hey, could I get a ballot for this? The girls will look into it and see what yes or no, if it fits the criteria or whatever, but don't be shy.
Yes, and we just gave our shift leads access to it, so they'll be hopefully able to add those too. Because again, on weekends, like management, we're not on there, so it's nice for them to just be like, "Yeah, this person kicked ass. Let's put them on," kind of thing. So, but definitely, if you think you're missing one, please let us know because we are definitely human. And we have missed them before. So, but now that it's Lindsay and I think we're a little less likely to miss them, but for sure. No, I'm a swamp monster.
Stop it. Okay. Thanks so much, everybody, for being here and participating. If anyone thinks of anything after the meeting, please reach out to one of us.
And I'll have the recording out tomorrow.
Oh, mention about Smart Vent.
Yes, Smart Vent is tomorrow at 7 on the patio. It will not be me. I will be in training. So I'm not sure who will be there, but 2 people will be there for you guys if somebody wants to, if anybody needs to come chat. Oh, Lord. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Markdale. Nice. They're lovely. Cool.
That's awesome.
Cool. All right, everybody. Make sure clock out a sling. And yeah, we're good.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night, everyone.
Okay.
Night, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.